Good morning, everyone. My name is Harry Gao. I'm a PhD student, third year here at Rutgers. I'm very glad that you decided to stay for my session. And it is actually going to be a very immersive 50 minutes on Python and building a LLM by yourself. So it's going to be very hands-on. And I invite you to quickly click into the Google Drive link that we shared with you earlier. I think you can just navigate to, here's a folder with my name. Yes, it's in the email, and if not, you can just navigate to the conference website, and there is a pre-conference materials and preparation guide. So it should take you to this Friday Gen AI Immersion Day folder. And there is at the second folder, which is my name, and hope everybody's following me. And there is a collab notebook folder. And this should contain Google Doc with the notebook link. Since Minjing is logged in on this account, I'll just mimic, let's say probably you're not logged in yet to your Google. You should see something like this. Once you click that link or copy that link, the link I'm referring to this one. So you just copy and paste to your browser. Any browser will do. So as long as it can be logged into Google, your Google account. And so there should be like something like this. So this will be my deck for this session. I didn't have a slide deck, but I will just pretty much follow this. And so once everybody's here, there is a button called Copy to Drive somewhere here. Right there, Copy to Drive. We'll make, I think that's a good idea, yeah. Oh. So we have this Copy to Drive. Once you click that, if you're not signed in, it will pop up to make sure you sign in to your Google. And I will just do the sign in here. Yeah, I'll probably need to click Copy to Drive again, which will make sure that I have a copy saved to my Google Drive. So everything you do here will be automatically saved to your Google Drive. So you have a chance to look at what you've done during the session. So very quick introduction. This is a session where you're gonna be exposed to starting with basic Python, some basic Python syntax. So you don't need to have prior knowledge to follow along. I would just make sure everybody can get the idea of building an LLM. And by the way, some of you might hear me presenting a similar a notebook in Salt Lake City in Utah, in Summit, but it's different. It's a very slightly modified. And basically, this is I'll start with the Python syntax. So we have why we're learning the basics of Python, because we try to make sure that you're gonna follow to the second part where you're gonna build your own LLM. So most of the commands here will be used again. And I will just very quick here. So within Python, it's just like any language we know. it has different parts. And here we call those parts like we'll call belongs to different data types. And here we have some we call integer, we have like float numbers, we have a Boolean, true, false, and of course we have the string. So string means some natural language like with English characters or any language will do. And basically, with this code, you can run it yourself by clicking there is a play button. So this is where I'll also quickly introduce to you this environment while it's loading. So we have this so-called Google Colab. It's a very user-friendly environment, which means you don't need to set up Python on your computer, and you just follow the steps that I've told you before you just get started with coding immediately. So right now it's already connected to the Google server, which provided you with 12.7 gigabyte RAM and 100 gigabyte of the disk space, and it's for free. So with this, you already run your first Python command. You define the 4 variables, and you can print those variables like this. So everything will be printed out. You run this, and it will print it out. And it's like a notebook, which means you have well-structured, you can have a well-structured notebook. And here is the table content at the left-hand side. You just click and you see the table contents. Very easy. So, and next I will just quickly introduce you different operations that we have in Python. We have the very similar to the mathematical operations like plus sign, but it doesn't only work with numerical values. It also works with the strings. Like you can have a hello world concatenated together. And it also you can use the multiplication with the string. So you're gonna repeat something for multiple times. So you define it, and you're gonna run it again, and you see this. I'm gonna print it out like this. Yeah. So I'll just also quickly introduce you another very important concept is how you're gonna manipulate the strings. So basically, you're gonna start with defining a string. You can do similar things as we would have done with the previous step. We can manipulate the string with different methods. Like we can convert it into lowercase or uppercase using the method lower or upper. And we define it. You can run it yourself. It will return you it in lowercase or uppercase, like this. So it's a very flexible and very powerful. So far we haven't introduced any external functions. These are all built in the Python environment. So, and at the same time, you also do this string slicing, which means you can just keep part of the string. Like you only want to keep the hello here. Basically, you limit your selection to the first 5 characters and you print it out. And how you do that? You do it by adding a square bracket after the greeting, which is the string, and you define the positions of the characters. Here, I just want to point out, Python always starts with 0 instead of 1. So the counting always starts with 0, 0. So the H will be the position 0, and E will be position 1, and all the way to O is position number 4 instead of 5. But here we put 5 because when it comes to slicing, it always stops at the second number minus 1, that position. This is a little mind twisting, but later on you'll get used to it. And with this, we can quickly show you it indeed like print out the hello, or you can just add a print. Either way will do. So hope you're following along But if you're not, no worries. You can always catch up once I reach the Llama 3 part. So when it comes to lists, this is also a very common common Python concept, because we, as accountant, as Eric just mentioned, we deal a lot with Excel, and the things were in that tabular form. And list you can understand as one column of that tabular format, the Excel spreadsheet. For example, you define a column in the spreadsheet as fruits. So you have 3 rows as apple, banana, and cherry. And in Python, we call it a list of 3 elements. So you can print it out as this, in this way, print fruits. To define, after you define a list, you can access the specific elements within the list. So similar to before, we use the position starting with 0 to print out the first one. So square bracket 0 will return you the first element of the list as active. And at the same time, we can modify the list. I will not go into details, but you can just add a new element or remove an element from the list. And you have a new list from this step. We also can do list slicing, which is similar to the string slicing. We can only keep the first 2 items in this way, like square brackets with the colon between the 2 positions. And next, I will just quickly introduce you to control flows as well. This is I would say it's very similar to how we, it's like an English grammar, like we have this if statement, which means if something, then we do something. So basically it's a if then in our language. So we define age here, let's say 18 years old, and we want to write a command to tell us if this age will give us this conclusion or not. So if yes, it's reached the 18, you're gonna return you're an adult. Yeah, you can run it yourself. I know, yeah. Maybe, I know from different countries, this is different, and you can change the command yourself. Somewhere is 17, this is 20 to 17. But what if it's a very young guy here is gonna print nothing for you? It's only run, but print out nothing. So you can find it yourself. And next, about the loops. So this is gonna be very handy when you want to repeat something. Like for example, we were retrieving each element from the list of fruits. But what if we want to retrieve every element from the list? We can definitely do, position 0, position 1, position 2 repetitively. But in Python, we have something called a for loop, where you're going to retrieve every element from the fruits list and print it out for you like this. So it's imagine you have a very long, like 500 items. This will be very helpful. If you want to do this, or do whatever you want to do with all the items in that list. So it's getting closer and comparable to Excel sheets when we, for example, we have formula set up, and then we copy and paste that formula across the whole column. So something like that. But everything will be more elegant, I would say, in Python. You have everything just into line, and it's you can always go back to it. And lastly, we also have something called a while loop. So this is when you repeat a task until a condition is met. So this is gonna be useful when you want the process to stop at a certain point. So let's say we want to count, like start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like it just counts 5 times. How do we do that? We're gonna limit it to the count gonna be below 5. So how do we do that? We iteratively add 1 to this count variable like this. So I put a note here. This is a very special concept in Python, which is a special operator called the plus equal. Basically, it means you add the value on the right to the left, and you update the value of the left-hand side variable by 1 each time. Yeah, so this is also a little counterintuitive at the first time, but it's actually quite intuitive when you understand it as this way. So x plus equals 5 is actually equivalent to x equals x plus 5. So in this way, we have 5 counting process done. And so I do have a little more time with the function and the modules. I will just quickly go through them. With the function, it's even more flexible in a way that you can define anything. Like not only think about Excel, you have some certain functions that you can use, like VLOOKUP. It's already been defined by the Excel company, Microsoft. You cannot, it's not that easy. You have to follow that syntax to do it each time. But with Python, you can define anything. Like, let's say we wanna, so I was trying to develop like something called WParse add, let's say. It's for these 2 numbers, I'm gonna make it A plus B times something like this. And with the results, it's gonna be WParse add 5, 10 is gonna be 5 plus 2 times 10. And let's see, okay, so it's 25. So you can define anything, so and change it very flexibly with only changing the define function step, and everything will be updated with your code. You can also do the previous step of checking the age, whether it's an adult or minor with easy step. If else, you just combine the control flow with the function defining step, and you have a function of checking whether an age is above or below 18. So this way we print out minor. And we also have, so actually this is like the defining function you can do yourself, but with the Python community, actually people are, like many programmers already worked out certain popular functions that they thought Python didn't bring, like it comes with the Python pre-installation package, which they kind of contributed to the society in a way that they made it for free for use by everybody, basically. And let's say we have this math function, math module, which is kind of similar to a scientific calculator. You want to import that scientific calculator to a Python. It's easy, just import math. And you have instantly, for example, you have the pi value just inside that package. And also you have this square root function, which doesn't come with the original Python command. So this is pretty much a quick primer about Python. And I will just move on to the next step, which is going to be more exciting. I know some of you might start falling asleep. I believe, like many of you know Python already, but I believe this part is going to be useful, very useful, especially if you're interested in using LLM for teaching or research, because this is your own LLM. You can use some open source LLM that people already built. It's similar to the modules that we just imported. So people contributed to the community with this model. And in this case, the Facebook or Meta, they contributed a model called Llama 3. And I believe many of you already familiar with this. It is actually developing very fast. We have Llama 3.2 already, I believe, released, and 3.3 will be released very soon. But to start with, I will just quickly run through the code again. We're gonna have some housekeeping first, and at the same time, I'm introduce you some of the my favorite modules and functions to get started with any projects that you're gonna run on Google Colab. So first is this timing function. So with this, so every time it will just give you a timestamp of what you've done in Python. Basically, these two code blocks, you can, after you run it, every time it will just return you how long did it take and when you run it. Like here, I just defined the time zone as the US Eastern and adjusted based on your time zone. And another important step is we're gonna mount the Google Drive to your notebook. So why we're gonna do that? Because we want the notebook to retrieve some, let's say, PDF files from your Google Drive, or maybe an Excel sheet from the Google Drive. So, but this doesn't mean that I can access your Google Drive, but it's your local notebook gonna retrieve stuff from your Google Drive. It's not me, so don't worry. Okay. So as I just demonstrated, you just agree with all the disclaimer and just the give concept to Google. And in this way, we're gonna also quickly install some necessary libraries. So these are basically I will just jump a bit beforehand to importing modules that we just covered with the libraries. So what libraries means is they are actually a collection of different modules from the community. And once we have installed them, we can import them only if we install them. So this is like a quick download from so you can just run this as well. This is gonna take you probably a couple minutes. But in the meantime, we can continue going. So you don't have to wait until it's finished, but we can continue with, so let's say we already installed those modules, those libraries. We're gonna import the modules from the libraries. In this way, we can utilize some functions predefined by other programmers that we're gonna use in this session. And here I demonstrate another a function that I defined for this, because later on when we interact with the LLM, we're gonna print out some response. But those response are only machine readable. But if you want to have a more visually pleasant or you're gonna like the visual output, you're gonna do this helper function defining as well. So this step is necessary. Okay, so now is the exciting part. So we can move on with the Llama 3 with some general questions like ChatGPT, but you don't have to pay, you don't have to wait for the limit to be released to you. This is gonna be your personal chatbot. But it's just a quick disclaimer, because the actual setup of the model can easily take up thousands of dollars for you to purchase NVIDIA graphic card to actually run the model. Here, just for the sake of this session, we utilize some API, like some third-party service, just to give it a concept, give it an idea of what the actual output will be like once you manage to either make an investment by your own company or your university that who can make that investment for you to purchase a very expensive graphic card. But with this, it's gonna be some third-party service, and I have the link here. It's for free, but I know it takes some time to get the API key, so I borrowed the API key to you free as well. You can copy this this line of code, this line of very long key, that so you can once this one pops up space for its input, you can just input the API key to this code block. Okay, so I think it's still running. This is almost there. Yeah, by the way, this is called the Grok API. So they not only provide you access with the Llama models, like the Meta AI models, but they also have some other models that are very exciting. Some of them like image generating model, video generating models that you can explore, and they are also for free. So because they all use the open source model, unlike the OpenAI, they kind of keep the model to themselves. Yeah, in the meantime, you can just click the run button also for the following couple of blocks because you're gonna use it very soon. So here it already popped up this Grok API key input here. So I input the API key. And so with this, I just, initiate the environment with the Grok. Basically, it helps you to load it's gonna help you access the actual model. And with this, I already help you input a question to the model. Like I'm attending a conference today at Rutgers campus, plan me something to do in the evening. So although we already have the gala dinner, but what about afterwards, right? So here is something I run this morning. I think it will be probably different. But this is what I said, like it's very like only machine readable, I would say, like something with a different like a /n and some strange codes, but with our helper function that I defined earlier. So and also this one, so make sure you run this helper function as well. And you're gonna have a very it's a human readable response from the model. Like okay, so it suggests us to go to the Ironbound. It's actually not far away from here, 10 minutes, right? I can even walk there. So something like this, you can just ask anything basically with this model. One thing very good about it is you can just ask anything, and I would say this performance, from what I can tell, is very comparable to the modern ChatGPT that we are using. But it does come with some limitations because as I know, the GPT is already live online search nowadays, but this one is still like using the data that it retrieved from maybe starting from like the cutoff is earlier this year. So this may not have the latest information, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to just keep it in your toolbox in case you need it someday. And with the previous steps, we can actually combine everything into one code block like this, and you can just start with playing with just enter a question, whatever question you have. So let's say I was interested in, well, let's say for those of you who are audit professionals, you might want to know like what are the latest we. We'll just give you a quick overview of some of the latest PCAOB standards. A very comprehensive and fast. Yes. Okay, so with that, I actually do have something else for you to bring home today, which is the RAG with the PCAOB Audit Standards. So you might wonder, what is RAG? So RAG is actually Retrieval-Augmented Generation. which means you're gonna have a chatbot that you can use to retrieve information from PDF. So actually not only PDF, but different documents that can be converted into a machine readable format. Here we call it, which we call a markdown format. With this code, even Excel sheets or like Word documents, anything. So, and how it works, I have this visual here for you to understand the process. So here we're gonna not only using the Grok API, but we also utilize some API called Llama Parse. So this is, as I mentioned, which is converting PDF document or Excel sheets into some Python machine readable format. And it's also using the API. I also put the API key down there so you can run it right now. Basically here I use the PDF file as an example. With the Llama Parse API, I call it clean the PDF. It's somehow like to remove the images, the graphs. We're gonna have a plain text version of the PDF. And we somehow use an algorithm to split the PDF into chunks of text. And with that, we're gonna ask a question. So this is the key to this RAG process, which is it's gonna match the splitted PDF with your question by pairing them, making sure that they're high in similarity scores so that the answer will be based on that chunk only. So this is, I would say, let's say for the first example, we have the PCAOB Audit Standards, which are like 300, 400 pages. And it's not as efficient to query the whole document compared to, just query a small chunk of the documents, which only consists of the necessary information. So this is where it's gonna come in handy for this process. And later on, we're just gonna input everything into Grok API and call the Llama 3 model, and we're gonna get an output. This sounds very daunting, but actually when it comes to the codes, it's just very, very straightforward. You just click run and everything will be set up for you. So with this, it's similar. You can borrow my API key here as well. So it's also free of charge, so you can go online. So this is optional actually. If you already have a plain text format document, you can just upload it directly to this Grok API basically. But here I just demonstrate what if you just have, let's say, 100 pages of audit standards and you want to query audit standards. So with this, I have the audit standards already loaded to Google Drive. And you don't have to like load it yourself, but here I also provide you with alternative way in case later on you want to load your own PDF documents, which is this code, block of code. So I put the hashtags in front of it, and it turns to a green color, which means I actually won't run in this state. You just have to remove the leading these hashtags for it to run. A quick hotkey for this to do is just select all and control /. It will just uncomment the whole thing. So this is a very handy way when you want the user not to run a certain code block. So this way you comment it out. So so basically it's the same. We're gonna mount the Google Drive and upload your PDF or whatever documents into the Google Drive with this path. So this path is you have to define it yourself and make sure you store it in the correct location. Sure. And you want to comment it again, you just control// again. It will just automatically add the hashtags for you. So and then I'm gonna move on to the steps where it's gonna parse for you the audit standards. We start with the instruction. So with the instruction, basically I tell the model explicitly that we're parsing a PCAOB audit standards, and especially here we kind of give a time limit and everything to the parser. We give it the temporary folder location, which is already defined above. But if in case you're uploading your own document, you're gonna comment, this line of code with that. So given the limited time, I will just quickly run through this notebook and basically and introduce each step like briefly. So for this text splitter, it's just doing what we just said. We split the text into multiple chunks. And then we use a certain model that can efficiently help us to do this, which is also an open source model. And I put all the notes here for you for your reference. But basically, after you run everything, you can just give it a question. So let's say here I said, okay, what does the standard say about using specialists in the audit? I guess I might not have the time to give you the response given my time, but since I run it this morning, I will just quickly show you the output probably. So it's gonna say, okay, so the standard provides guidance on using specialists in an audit, including company specialists and auditor engagement specialists. So this is like the answer to begin with, and it also provided you additional helpful information. So it's very comprehensive. It contains, for example, the standard applies to the specialist with special skill or knowledge in a particular field other than accounting or auditing. So something to keep in mind. Which I believe if you run your own question and your own document, you can have very vastly different answer because the model is random, which is the same as the ChatGPT mechanism. So with the remaining 2 minutes, I will just also quickly show you another use case, which you can just take home as something you can take a look. I do put the similar notes down here, which is based on the Meta 2024 Q1 results, like the earnings announcements. In case, for example, in your research, you might want to parse some corporate disclosures to collect some data. This is gonna come in very handy because you don't have to set up the OpenAI API. I know nowadays they put a strict limit to different user tiers. Like if you just get started, you might not have that many tiers allowed for the time limit for a day or maybe a week to have a quota for that. But with this, let's say we can. I put the question as what is like the most innovative or the most significant innovation for Meta? And I think the results is very comprehensive as well. So it says the most significant innovation from Meta is new version of Meta AI with Llama 3. So obviously what we're using right now. Also, for example, I have the revenue for 2024 and percent change. You can read the tables as well. Like this is because we have it loaded with the markdown, format that we can load the table in a machine readable format.